WMAZ weather, sponsored by Bucky Holland Heating, Cooling, Plumbing.
All right, continuing to follow it. As I mentioned earlier, this is not the same as like a severe weather situation. First of all, because this is happy weather. Severe weather, not so much. And usually with that, there's something to kind of follow, doing in street spotting, looking at a tornado where this and that's going on. This is just very broad and it's just happening. So what we're seeing is rain changing over to snow. Why all the colors here? Well, as you look at the green, that's normally what you would see as rain. Yellow is usually where we're seeing a steadier, more concentrated thing. I'm kind of curious, is this reflectivity maybe showing a thicker band of snow in this? I know that darker blue is, and we just don't know if it's changing over fully just yet. I've been looking at the Dublin Skycam, and I do see some flurries there. At least from our vantage point, it doesn't look like as busy as what we've been seeing on the other sky cams. All right, so you may be looking and saying, well, look, there's all this still back here. Maybe, maybe not, because as we've been checking in with Hunter King, he's in Monroe County, and the last couple of times that we've been checking in with him in the storm lab, we didn't see snow continuing to fall. So even though Monroe County still shows that, trying to figure out where the true cutoff really is, because in some of these areas, we still see some blue shaded area, but we're not seeing so much actually come down. And as we move around, the reason I'm moving sideways like this is to catch different radars so that we can see, this is the one from Alabama, so that we can see the actual back edge here. So somewhere in here already, as we move around and catch Peachtree City's radar, you can see the well-defined edge right here. So in the Macon area, at least for now, it continues to snow, and as we look at the 4-panel shot here of the Skycams, it's still totally different. It really tells the story of where it is and where it is not fully changed over just yet. As I look at the Dublin Skycam, I'm trying to look at this monitor over here. I can't tell if I see anything accumulating down there. Just doesn't look as heavy. You do see a few flurries coming by, which is a little bit odd because if you look at the radar, it's showing pretty decent reflectivity there. Like there should be a lot going on there. But we'll see how it goes. At some point, this should start to look like this. Where we're seeing snow everywhere. So the fairgrounds in Perry here behind me. There's a look at Warner Robins. You can see it's been really piling up on the grass there. And that's really part of the story here is it's different from last January where we had it all over the roads and it was just a really big problem driving. We're not seeing as much of an issue with that. Having said that though, if you don't have to be out, don't go out because I mean, you're gonna see basically what you're seeing on these pictures that we're showing and all that. It's all the same thing. So just enjoy where you are safely. As far as the numbers are concerned, let me go back to the radar. And there is the big picture popping up there. And again, Dublin should be at least seeing some steadier rain there if you look at the way that reflectivity is showing up there. But give it time, we'll see if that starts to change over to a heavier snow. The numbers have been right close to freezing. I know it's kind of strange. You have snow and you're looking at a surface temperature of 34, 35 degrees. Ansley and I were talking at some point in the upper levels of the atmosphere, this is freezing and coming down. May not be as at that same level at the surface, but it is coming down as snow because it's colder aloft. But sometimes what you'll see is when this comes down, it'll actually drag that colder air down to the surface and then make more of a freezing situation. Some of these numbers, though, just are stubborn to go all the way to 32. 32 in the Macon area, 35 for Forsyth, and places where it has been snowing. Still 35 in Dublin. Let me move this over so you can see I'm in the way here. 40 in Sandersville, weird because it's been snowing in Washington County. We know that. But again, somewhere in the upper levels is where that snow is and then coming down. So we'll have to wait and see how long this actually hangs around. There is no urgency as far as the sun getting in here. So that would be obviously one thing that would melt this stuff off. This is not cloud cover here I'm showing you. I'm just showing you from a different look. Instead of blue, it's in white where you can see where the snow is and you can see that changeover taking place. If I add on the satellite shot so that you can see where the cloud cover is, which is important because if you're wanting this to hang around, you don't want to see the back edge of these clouds, you don't want to see that come on across because then the sun's going to come out and do its thing. So for the foreseeable future, we're socked in with cloud cover and some cold stuff, so it should hang around for a while. And as I take the satellite shot back off, you can just see rain and snow there. So Ansley, I know we've had that winter storm warning. It was out for kind of a bullseye of our area, a certain amount of counties, and then they kind of added on because it was like, hey, there are more people to the west starting to get in on the game here. And then outside that, more kind of like advisory stuff. And we've been able to kind of verify that on the ground too, not as much on the fringes, you know.
Yeah, it's been pretty accurate. I mean, like I said earlier, the details of this forecast have really unfolded. Honestly, the last 24 hours and now that we're actually in the event, we've gotten a lot more clarity about what this thing is. Now, I will touch on that here in just a minute, but I want to jump back to what Ben was saying about that line moving into Dublin right now, just because I'm getting a couple of different viewer reports. I have one on Facebook right now of somebody telling me that they have had some freezing rain in the area and potentially some kind of mixed precip. So part of me is wondering, as this line moves into the Dublin area and then a little bit further south and east, if we are going to be able to kind of sustain the actual snowfall, or if we're going to be switching over to more of a mixed precip type of situation. We have a new run from the HRRR model. That's kind of what it's thinking early this morning. Now the graph model, we don't have a new run on that just yet. We will get one fairly soon. So it'll kind of be interesting to see what it does with that. But you can see, not that I'm going to count this out for the folks who are in our southeastern counties at all, because it definitely could continue, especially if those temperatures drop. But the HRRR model kind of thinks that this stalls a little bit, almost where it is, and then by the time it gets to our southeastern counties, it starts transitioning over into some sort of mixed precip or even some light rain. So that'll just be something that we're watching here for the next little bit. Again, I'm not going to say that, Dublin's not going to see snow. We've already seen that they've gotten a couple of flakes out there, and that line's getting pretty close to the area, so they definitely could still have some true snowfall, but it will be interesting to see. Like Ben said, we would need more sunshine for the temperatures really to be too warm, but they're close. So we'll kind of see if we start ending up having more of a mixed precip situation happening down in our south and eastern counties as we go throughout the rest of the late morning and then towards the afternoon, because that is expected to push out of our area either way by the time we hit noon today. So this is kind of the graph run. Again, we don't have a new one of these just yet. We will get one, I believe, at 10 a.m. So we'll kind of see how that pans out within the next hour. But the graph still has it holding on as snowfall and then pushing out of our area again by this afternoon. Now, the rest of the day will be kind of interesting. If we get enough sunshine, a lot of this stuff will melt off. But then there will be another concern for refreezing overnight tonight. And then as we head into Monday, we should lose any and all ice that is still with us. But like Ben was mentioning when he handed over to me here, we have this winter storm warning, and then we have this winter weather advisory for the counties that are here in purple. So what this has really done is given us an indication of who has seen substantial snowfall amounts through this morning. The substantial amounts have been in this pink area here. Out in this purple area, this has been, lighter, more trace amounts, and this goes until 1 p.m. on Sunday. So pretty certain that we will be just said and done with this heading into the afternoon. Now, as you know, we have been asking for reports from the field from viewers. I've definitely gotten a few more now that we've started to bring this map up a couple more times. A lot of question marks on there, but also a lot of areas that still aren't done seeing snowfall. So once, the snow kind of lets up a little bit, you can step outside, maybe make your way onto the back deck, or hard surfaces are best. I've gotten a couple photos in the grass. Sometimes, you can smush down the grass and then the totals look a little bit higher than they actually are. But overall, the ones that I've seen that are on this map so far have been fairly accurate to what I think could be the case in these areas. So that's close to 2 inches in the heaviest spots. Monroe County, over where our reporter Hunter King has been all day, that has been some of the heaviest snowfall and has looked pretty impressive. So I don't doubt that they've seen up to that amount. And the thinking here, if you think about the winter storm warning that we were in, it extends kind of like this. So all the areas that are outside of this little line here should have trace amounts. All the areas inside of this line could have higher amounts, probably close to 2 inches in some of the heaviest spots, but I think more likely in the 1 to 2 inch range. So that's kind of where things stand at the moment. Again, any and all reports that you can send us definitely help. You can snap a photo at your own home. Like I said, decks and harder surfaces usually are best. You can send them into our 13 WMAZ Weather Network, or you can share them with our newsroom. And all you have to do is stick a ruler in the snow, snap a photo, and then tell us what city you are in so that we can throw this on our map and get more information about what we're seeing. So we'll keep tracking that. Until then, back to you, Carmen and Megan.
All right, Ansley, thanks so much. Now a heads up, because we you know, you've been saying this, Megan, a lot of people were probably anticipating attending service this morning, but if that is still in your plans, we just want to give you some heads ups here because some services have been canceled. Now, we know that Mikado Baptist Church has canceled their 8:45 a.m. service, but says they will most likely meet for 6 p.m. service. The Grove Church has also canceled all services for Sunday. We will continue to keep you updated on any closures and impacts on our website. That's 13wmaz.com. And we do know that the dropping temperatures can have a major impact on anyone's body, but for the millions of migraine sufferers in the U.S., the cold can also trigger an attack. Things like extreme cold, changes in barometric pressure, and sudden weather changes can spark a migraine attack. Avoiding those attacks starts with being aware of what typically sparks them, like certain foods, caffeine, stress, and sleep issues. Now, if you can't find symptom relief, it is best to see a doctor.
And troops are now on standby for potential deployment to Minnesota, where protests over federal immigration enforcement have been taking place. As Christian Benavides reports, this weekend pro and ICE and demonstrators clashed outside Minneapolis City Hall. And I think we're going to go ahead and take things to break. We'll follow up with more stories and weather in just a few minutes.
Alrighty, still following the rain turning to snow and snow continuing in some spots, but then kind of a development here recently. Ainsley was talking about it. We've been watching places like Dublin, and you're right on the edge of this, and I keep waiting for this to push in, but we're not so sure that that will fully happen. There's kind of a mix going on here, but this line, this edge does not really want, I mean, the precip is coming through, but the conditions for it, you can see this is actually kind of shrinking into this little corridor right here, which Ainsley showed it a minute ago, goes right along with some of the models we've been showing, that this may be kind of where it is, and then it just sort of shrinks down, and this stays rain or some sort of a mix. I'm not sure we're going to see much more of an eastward progression. We'll see how that goes. All right, so let's look around in there, and you can see the back edge that came through the Monroe County area just a little while ago, coming into Bibb and Crawford here in a little bit. So not sure how much longer that's going to be, maybe another half hour or more, and then it should start to go to just fewer and fewer flurries and then shutting down. The good news is, for those who like to see this continue to stay on the ground, is I don't see the sun coming out anytime soon. The cloud cover is still way back over toward the Alabama line and in northwest Georgia. So we don't have any sort of immediate clearing to bring what would still not be a warm day. I mean, probably around 40 or so, somewhere in there, but enough that we would start to see things melt a little bit. So as long as we keep the clouds around, we'll keep the stuff on the ground for a while. So let me kind of move this around again, and you can kind of see this setup right here. So, and I get it, there's got to be people watching in some of these eastern counties going, well, hold on a second. All week long, they were showing southeast corner, that was going to be where the majority of this is. Well, these kind of things change shape, and we've been seeing over the past handful of hours that the models are picking up more and more that it is mainly kind of in this area, and this is sort of an iffy line right here, and it's kind of sticking right with where the models are showing. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. As we get to the high-res model, this one comes out very often here, and this sort of picks up on the setup that we have right now. So this is the rain, possibly mixed. I know that I've looked at the Skycam in Dublin, and you can see some snow flurries on there as well, so probably a little bit of a mix, and you can kind of see that here as well. Notice how this area right here, as we go forward, sort of stays here as we go through the next side and then shrinks down. And it never really advances any more toward the east. So this is a change from what the models were originally showing when it was just blowing snow all the way across through here. It may just be where it is now, and then just kind of as that back edge comes across, it just sort of shrivels in place. You can see that right there. So as we go back to where we are now and going forward, there's never really an advance more toward the east, and then eventually it just finishes out. Not so sure this is going to be going all the way till noon, but we'll see how that goes. Let's see the graph. We don't have, I'm not sure. No, not that one. Where's the one? There we go. If there's a new one out, yeah, this one at least shows part of that story. You can see right here, the Dublin area from where we are now. As we go forward, it's starting to do that same thing where it's just shrinking this area as it moves on in, and it's never changing over any farther toward the east. It does a little bit, so maybe a little bit more as we get toward Lawrence County here as we head toward noon and eventually. So it's kind of on board with what the high-res model is showing. So having said all that, how much longer would it snow then? Well, it's just going to take time for the blue area to continue on over. But again, instead of seeing this whole blue area come all the way across and go like that, there's just kind of hitting a wall of a different environment here. And so we'll just start to see this shrink on over until eventually this just sort of closes up. Back edge, Monroe County, and it's been a while. We checked it back in earlier with Hunter King. He's there and was there, and we could see on the cameras from the Storm Lab that it had quit a while back. And so that back edge, showing snow stopping right there has already been shut down for some spots. Let me do this thing I was talking about earlier where sometimes if you move around and catch a different radar, like there's the Peachtree City radar, and you can kind of see a little bit more of the well-defined edge from that vantage point. And if we go over and catch the one from Alabama, you can see how it's come all the way through Columbus and everything, and that's the back edge there as well. So still some time, mainly places like Macon, Warner Robins, Perry, on over into Twiggs, Wilkinson, Bleckley, Pulaski. It's just not quite the same thing as you go from Wilcox on into Dodge, Lawrence County, the eastern half of Washington on into Johnson County here, the same kind of thing. So it's kind of like right in there, the haves and the have-nots. And I don't see that the atmosphere is going to change for that. Let's take a look at the Skycam situation. Now that's snow in Dublin. So forget everything I just said. No, so it is starting to change over some into snow. So hopefully, you're right there on that line. So it may be a different story in eastern parts of Lawrence County, but at least in the Dublin area, we are seeing snow now, finally on the Skycam. We'll see if that starts to pick up here on the ground. You can see it, definitely it's been sticking in Macon, Warner Robins, and Perry here. So good news there for Dublin. If you've been wanting to see the snow, maybe this will continue for a while. It looks like you're at least close enough right on the changeover area there to see some of that. So maybe we'll start to see some accumulation on the grass down there in just a little bit. But as far as the Macon area, you can see it's still coming down. I keep, like I said, we're still kids too. We like to peek outside, and you can still see it coming down out there. Probably not as concentrated as what it was like an hour and a half ago, but still kind of adding to the totals out there. And some of the totals we've been seeing in different parts of our area are, an inch and a half in parts of central Georgia. Somebody said 1 to 2 inches somewhere. I think we've been more like, half inch? We haven't taken a measurement in a while because it's still snowing out there, and we're trying to get one toward the end of the situation there. But, and again, if you look at the big picture here, as far as once snow starts to wind down, I remember when I was a kid, it was more like, okay, well, how much longer is it going to be around? When does the sun come out and ruin the party? Well, let's throw the satellite on here and see, as long as the clouds are around, that's going to kind of prevent the sun from doing its thing. And you can see this is not cloud, this is cloud cover here. And we still see a great deal of clouds all the way back toward the north and west. So there is no immediate clearing for sun to come in. So should be some time to get out there and still enjoy it for a long time. And as I mentioned, no need to get on the road and drive around. It all looks the same everywhere you go. So even though the roads are in better shape than they were this time last year when we had that snow that was really starting to pile up on the roads, as well as the other services, there's just no reason to be out there and take a chance on some of that stuff, though. So I know that you've been getting some totals from time to time, Ainsley.
Yes.
The little board was filling up. But it is interesting that we were talking about, I don't know if that's what you were going to talk about. I think you had a radar pulled up. But that little shrinking window, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, is actually sort of happening. Just I'm going to shut up.
Okay. All right. Well, no, I was going to touch on all of that, so don't even worry about it. We're going to cover everything. I was just looking at what Ben was talking about. That's why I had the radar pulled up, because that line, I'm really in touch with what folks are saying out there right now, trying to keep up with the reports so that I can fill out the map. And I have some folks telling me, they're in Lawrence County, but they're seeing mixed precip. And then I have some folks telling me that they are getting actual snow there. So I was just listening along with Ben and trying to kind of figure out, okay, what's actually going on over there in Lawrence County? Because it looks like we have a little bit of mixed reviews. But, it's definitely encouraging that we're still seeing actual flakes. I think that, like we've been kind of trying to reiterate, it is a little complicated to try to differentiate, if this is the exact line or if this extends further into Lawrence County, because the radar has just had a really hard time with working with the type of precipitation that we're dealing with right now. Obviously, it is true snow once you transition over into snow, but while it's kind of in that transition phase, the radar has a hard time picking up on if this is frozen, if this is heavier, if it's lighter. So we kind of just get some distortion along that line, which is why we don't have the most perfect idea, which again is why your reports matter. So I'm glad that there's actually some snowfall moving into Dublin. Like Ben was saying, I've been getting some reports for the last little bit or so, and I'm probably due to take a step outside into the backyard garden and take a measurement here in Macon. But I have had some folks from Lizella and other areas here in Bibb County tell me that they've gotten some measurements. So I went ahead and did plot Bibb County at an inch. I wouldn't be surprised if we're a little bit higher than that, but it does look like, interestingly enough, and we'll kind of see if I get other reports and the data lines up with this, it would be interesting if this was really when we had kind of the heaviest or most efficient snowfall, and then as it's pushed more into central Georgia, if some of that has backed off just a little bit. Obviously, not a huge difference, but 2 inches to an inch is a little bit of a difference here. So it'd be interesting to see what the totals actually end up being in this region. They very likely could be the same, and these are just early reports, and we'll see what happens when this is all said and done. But overall, I've drawn this line a couple of times, so sorry if you're sick of hearing me say this, but the kind of areas that are inside of this little semicircle here are the areas that we're expected to see the heaviest totals. Now, I will say that does include Dublin, so hopefully they do actually end up seeing some snowfall. The areas outside of this, which is kind of why maybe the HRRR is thinking that we will see this whole thing kind of slide down, is these counties that are outside of that semicircle, they are the ones who are expected to have lower totals anyway. So it could be that the HRRR, that high resolution model that Ben was showing you just a minute ago, has this kind of as the transition phase. These areas will still get some snowfall, but then these counties I think are looking more at some mixed precip, some wintry mix, frozen rain, sleet, things like that, because that kind of just goes along originally with the actual thinking, again, with these watches and warnings that we have kind of for the rest of the day. So That will be kind of an interesting transition to take here. We will get a new graph model coming up, I believe, at 10 a.m. I'm pretty sure that's when we get a new one. So we'll kind of see if the new graph thinking is in line with the HRRR model and see what that means for the rest of our counties. And then the rest of the day should be interesting. Obviously, we have some cloud cover out there. We'll see if these temperatures still try to climb into the 40s. I definitely think we'll make it above freezing, but we'll kind of see if we make it this high for the rest of the day today. Overall, the road concern is not major, but of course, if you're able to stay off the roads today, I think that's the most ideal option. Definitely heading into the overnight hours tonight, we want to be cautious because areas that don't have the opportunity to evaporate quite so much today will have the opportunity to refreeze overnight tonight. Now, the good news is, as we head throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to see this all kind of move on, and then we won't really have to worry about refreezing as we head into Tuesday. So it's really just overnight tonight, and then as we kind of wake up early tomorrow morning. So I'll keep on showing this just because it does seem to be helping. I have got a lot of folks sharing some photos with me, and it is very, very, very helpful. So thank you to those who have already sent in photos. And if you are inclined, you could step outside and grab a ruler and submit some photos to our weather network or to our newsroom. All you have to do is snap a photo of the snow. Typically, hard surfaces are the best with your ruler. And then you can include your city and send it over to us, and we'll keep plotting those plots up on the map. So more to come, but back to Megan and Carmen for now.